Like from your transition there, like what were the highlights of your time then in the UKT program?
On my time there in the UKT program. So it was a lot because when I went there my final year, I kind of wanted to do a lot of things, and I only had 1 year to do everything. So in hindsight, I kind of really like stretched myself really thin. I guess the highlight to say so I did an ICJ simulation in the London International Model United Conference in London. So that's one of like the top 4 conferences. So if you get into that and if you do well in that, that's like one step closer to World 1, which is basically like Olympics for one. So it was really nice. You get to meet like a lot of new people. You get to work with a brand new team and stuff like that. And we actually won an award, so it was kind of crazy. Actually, the award's just right over there. Yeah. I did love, like, I was also involved in KPUM.
KPUM.
Yeah, KPUM, which is basically the kind of the Malaysian Student Law Union. I was also, so I did a lot of like meeting and stuff like that. I was like volunteering in the local church. Basically, I did a lot in my final year. So you like rest, and then your friends want to socialize, and you have to study. So yeah, it was the first half was really hectic because you have to do all the groundwork. The second half was a bit better because like you kind of did all the groundwork in the first half. Yeah, but it was tiring. Yeah. I did suffer like burnout a couple of times and homesickness. Yeah, but it was really really nice. I would say Belfast was one of the best I could experience as a law student. Yeah.
You wanna like show the medal? Or the
Yeah. So basically, yes. So it's a chairing award for. So there were like 31 councils. There was a lot of councils in the conference. So this is only given to the top 3 councils. Yeah. So we somehow like won it, which is like crazy. We never intended to win it, but like we won it. So yeah.
Oh, that's nice. And what about the people there? How did you find them?
The people was great. So the reason why I wanted to go to Northern Ireland is I wanted to have a different culture as well. So in a sense, like, because I already been to the UK once, so I didn't want to experience the same thing again. So I'll say Northern Irish people are very friendly. The accent is also a bit different. Yeah. So there's that.
Like, did you experience any kind of racism there, or like?
That's an interesting question. So I would say, okay, this is my personal opinion. If you're in the mainland UK, if you're closer to London, yeah, you might experience like instances of racism and stuff like that. But the Northern Irish people are very, how to say, I mean, we are lucky in the sense that they are also, so the history between Northern Ireland and the UK is like, there was some rough history externally and internally as well. So the Northern Irish people suffer from the Troubles, which was basically, there was 2 political parties that were fighting each other. So after the Good Friday Agreement, which was like a peace treaty internally by the UK, it sort of like stabilized the whole situation. But outside of Belfast, you can see that the community still live like very divided. It's still like, it's literally like a war zone, like it's war cage like that. So they even have a mural called the Peace Wall. So there's that. So in a sense, like, you won't experience much racism over there because like they kind of undergo what we undergo, and also in my time there, I don't think I experienced any form of racism because I was also in the church that was quite racially diverse as well. So we had Malaysians, Mexicans, locals, Americans. It was very very diverse. Yeah. So it sort of like became like a second Malaysia in a sense. Yeah. So that's kind of the unique thing about Belfast.
Or like culturally diverse.
Yeah.
What were the things that scared you the most in general of entering LLB degree?
I guess you say, like, looking back at that time, like, I don't really know what I was scared of. Like, I was kind of, in a fog, just like, okay, fine. Like, with a degree, or just whatever they threw, we kind of just had to adapt with it. I guess to say, I struggled a lot in my first year because it was assignments, it was a new format, I wasn't really sure. I actually didn't do really well in my first few assignments. So come my second year, like, it was a bit more familiar because you have 1 year in the whole program already. And then going abroad, in a sense, like, I wasn't really scared, I was kind of more excited. But in hindsight, like, I didn't really like sort of like foresee all the challenges I would like face when I was there. The homesickness, the burnout. It's a long stretch, it's a long marathon. But I guess I was lucky in the sense that like I had really really good friends, and not a lot of us went to Belfast because there was an incident the year before that one of the land law modules wasn't recognized by the profession board over here. So a lot of people didn't go to Belfast that in my year. So at the end of the day, there was only a small group of people that went. So we really bond and like knitted really closely.
Oh.
So that kind of helped to like reduce a lot of the concerns, a lot of the scares and everything. I really had support from my friends, I would say. Yeah.
So like biggest takeaway is that always have a support system.
Yeah, definitely. Because like when you're there, you're pretty much alone. So your friends are like kind of like your second family in a sense. Yeah. So always have a group of friends with you in degree, because not only they offer you a very good like support system, they also help you. You get to bounce ideas for your assignments. You get to if they're slow, you get to teach them, and vice versa. If you're slow, they get to teach you. So yeah.
I guess we'll move on to our last and final question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so like after all this, like, do you like have any advice you want to give to aspiring law students who are keen on taking UKT? Like what would you have wanted to hear when you were just about to enroll?
I guess to say the UKT, so I'll be comparing this with the UOL program because that's basically the most popular comparison. The UOL program, it's a 3 years external program, but you're going to do it locally. So it's a bit more tough in the sense that it's going to be like A-levels for the next 3 years. So the main thing you'll save is cost. So people who do the UOL naturally will do the bar. But from what I heard, it's a lot tougher because the questions they ask, it's from the University of London like itself. So the questions are going to be a lot more tougher. It's going to be way more academic based. Whereas for UKT, it's more of a journey. It's more of like a personal development journey, and the experience you gain abroad, immeasurable. It's priceless. I guess to say for UKT, you get to adapt a lot better because you're kind of doing different things every year. So yeah, that's what I would say. And I think the biggest advice, I mean, judging from the advice I gave just now, just go for it. There's nothing to be scared of. Yeah, I think law schools is going to be one of the best years you experience as a student. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Alright, so that's the end now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. No worries.
Hello, thank you for watching the second interview of this series. For this summary, my first point is some contextual information on the day of the interview itself. In the previous interview, I mentioned about the ability to stir the direction of the interview to the way I wanted, and ironically, this time it should be applied to me because the interview went further than intended. For Hong Liang, I intended to interview two separate topics with him. First, his experience on the UK transfer, and second, his experience as a legal writer. And basically on that day, I arrived at 10 AM. I was supposed to leave by 11:30 AM because I had another interview with Dishandran, a lawyer specializing in medical negligence. And I actually ended up leaving near 12 PM and fortunately made it just minutes before the next interview arrived. And what caused the delay was basically me getting sidetracked talking with Hong Liang about reading manga, specifically about Attack on Titan. I find it kind of sad how like the people I've met who are keen on pursuing to read law are not actually people who are into reading manga, and just like I guess like it is what it is. Anywho, onto the second point of the summary, that is Hong Liang's experience on his UK transfer. I believe that it's pretty self-evident in the sense that like affordability. If you have it, then just go. There's no second doubts about it because throughout this entire interview, it has just been Hong Liang talking about his interests and what he has done, all his interests and passion, enjoying himself rather than anything else. The third point of this interview is that there are two things that appeal to me the most. The first is that everything Hong Liang does, right, what I believe is out of his own volition, like out of his own interest and passion, rather than moral obligations due to his responsibility to his parents and whatnot. Like, I believe, personally for me, I believe that in life, right, you should actually do what you want and not what other expect you to do. So, when you apply to this, right, in case of Hong Liang, let's say his decision to read law, like, okay, I mean, like, what parent wouldn't want their child to have a professional career, a stable job and all that, like, but for Hong Liang, it wasn't, I would like to believe it wasn't that reason, like, it was more of his personal it was more personal to him, like it was all his own passion for gaming, specifically Assassin's Creed, and for his love of history. I actually have an interview in the alternative career phase with a lecturer of mine who graduated with an LB and passed her CLP, but just didn't like the practicing world, so she made a full career turn and became a lecturer. The topic of the interview was specifically on self-acceptance, and so stay tuned with me until next year, February 2021, because that's the only day I'll release that video. The second is when he mentioned about the support system. Coincidentally, when I was editing this video, right, I was actually reading a business article on this specific topic, and I'll link it down below, and I strongly recommend you to read it. It's quite relatable, and I feel it will be much valuable to everyone. To conclude, to give a holistic view, in the sense of assessment and self-realization through campus life and whatnot, right, I believe that UKT has the most potential to offer that, but with that said, it comes at the cost of affordability. If you don't have it, you can't actually go for it. And personally, I feel like, as I said in the previous interview, if UL 100% examination assessment doesn't suit you like how it doesn't suit me, there's also the alternative choice of choosing MMU, because the cost is very similar, and second thing is that it's ratio assessment, and most importantly, it's CLP exempted. I hope that the interview has been informative as intended. Stay tuned for next week, as the next interview is someone from MMU and the topic will be about life in MMU. Till then, bye!